putting in time when no one else can see it, because that's what matters the most. Because I see a lot of people, they train just around people because they want others to see them.
Validation.
Like, oh, look, I'm good at this. But they don't train things that they suck at.
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a former professional parkour athlete turned stuntman. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Christopher Bogdanski Shore.
What's up, guys?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Dude, I'm good, man. I'm happy to be here in your new facility.
I was going to say, this is a special
sick
one. This is a first JAMCast on the road.
Woo.
We're in Atl Atlanta at the new, JAMLanta location. And I have to give you special thanks, man. For those that don't know, we're going to put it out there. Chris is the one that helped me lay down the spring floor, the puzzle mats, everything in this place, man. So,
dude, I never want to see a puzzle mat again in my life.
People have no idea. They probably assume it's like super easy to put down. But, man, we had to jigsaw some stuff and custom cut the entire border.
Corners, borders.
We had to cut around the bag stands.
Some I-beams that we cut around.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I was out here measuring and stuff. I was like, I don't trust myself to cut, but I can measure for sure.
Yeah. So. Now, you did a great job. He did the border all on his own and killed it.
Yo, man, super, super thankful, man. I like I said, over the years, I really appreciate your support of the gym. For those that don't know, he's sporting a Jam shirt, not because he's sucking up, but Chris used to work with us back in LA at the original Jam location. Him alongside with his fiance, and he was just super instrumental in a lot of things. In fact, dating back to that gym, he helped with the trampoline that's currently in place, I think, right? Like you helped with the trampoline frame.
I helped build out the trampoline and everything after the first frame gave way, and then we fixed the new tramp, and then also the editing room, which some people get to see, some people don't.
Some people don't even know it's there.
Some people don't even know it's there. It's dope because it's like stealth. It looks super stealth.
Yeah, man. And yeah, man, it's just super, super cool and always appreciative of your help. He's always been like a handyman, and then at the same time, like super instrumental in coaching. In fact, during the pandemic, some of you may recognize Chris because him and the fiance came over and did like at-home parkour classes during COVID lockdowns. So.
Oh, yeah. That was a lot of fun. Dude, we had to get really creative because we were like, okay, we're not allowed outside. How can we do parkour movements that aren't just like on the ground and everything? It was fun playing with a chair or a dining table.
And I don't want to keep just calling her fiance with a proper name. She's actually been a guest on the JAMCast before. So for those that don't remember, I'll let you state who she is and they can take a look at the
name
JAMCast.
Is Yesenia Cosillo. You guys, a lot of you know her as like Dynamite on the show Ultimate Tag.
Exactly.
She's amazing, great performer, great human.
Yeah, man. What's crazy is like even predating the times that you guys were down helping us out at Jam, I had met you guys both through the course of parkour competitions. I think through like WFPF, like world championships and things like that.
Yeah, my funny thing, like my first ever like big competition against like some big names like Eric Mukamincha and all them was with you.
Was it the Vegas one?
Yeah, it was the Vegas one. That was my first like international like competition, and like. Man, it was also great meeting you because, like, I'm not going to lie, I usually get nervous before everything. It's always been a thing in my life. Just and it's not really nerves of me not being ready. Like my dad taught me, he was just like, nerves and butterflies are a good thing because it just means you were already prepared for this.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't nervous, then you should be a little scared.
Yeah, I've always been like a strong believer my whole life. Like the times where I wasn't nervous and got cocky, things did not go well.
But
you have to have like little percentage of like fear, and I guess that's what keeps you like constantly aware.
Yeah, on edge
in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Gives you like that tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've helped me a lot like through the years. Like if I've ever had questions, especially about like the stunt industry, because like I was, my fiance was helping me get into it, and then also like I could reach out to you as a friend, and you would always message back. You would always take the time, and like I know you're hella busy, but just like. Every single time I was like, dang, bro, like, I'd be like, yo, like, what mats you recommend? What harness you recommend? He's like, oh, yo, so I recommend this or this. And then you'd give me a breakdown of, like, the difference. And I'm like, damn, like, that takes a minute to write. Yo, thank you.
I'm not going to lie. Probably, like, 5 years ago, there's a point where I was, like, super burned out on, like, the amount of messages I got on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I just had to talk with my friends. It was just one of those talks where it's just like, yo, just, try to be the positive person that you didn't have back in your career. Like I realized like when I started, I had a lot of helpful people, but at the same time, like I didn't have a lot of resources to go through in the stunt industry. And so I just kind of flipped a switch and was like, you know, if people are hungry and seek out knowledge, like the least I could do is at least point them in the right direction. It's up to them what they do with it, you know?
Yeah.
So
that's fun. Like, really for like me, it was just like, Yesenia is the one who like helped me get in the stunt industry from parkour.
Yeah.
She was like, hey, you don't have to do this for free pretty much. And like, cause like I'm jumping off buildings, doing all these things. And she's like, you just do it for fun? Like, you don't make any money from it? I was like, nah. And then she helped me get into stunts down in Florida, Miami.
Okay.
When she was helping me get in, it's kind of hard because like there's not really any film, there's not anything shot down in South Florida because like we got like all that tax problems and all that stuff.
Totally.
But the one of the main reasons like we actually moved to LA was also like jam and everything.
No way.
'Cause we were like, you know, we could train because like our biggest thing was just training to be as best as we can.
Yeah.
And then always keep growing from there. And I was just like, why not just go where it is? So like we ended up splitting off like the group that we started with down in Miami. A lot came to Atlanta, and then a lot just me and her. We were the only two that went to LA.
No way.
And like I love it now. That was like one of the best decisions that we ever made.
I would say the only thing that sucked about your decision was the timing. Was that like you guys came, put in a good amount of time, and then right then COVID kind of hit. And that was the only thing that sucked is because like had it been any other time period, you probably would have just hit the ground running and working a lot sooner, you know?
Dude, COVID hit hard with us because so our first 2 years in, like we were doing good. We were picking up little jobs here and there. And then also like knowing people from like Ultimate Tag when we did that. Yeah. And then, you know, also the free running community, they're very supportive. Well, at least the one in LA that I know, like they've always been very supportive.
Totally.
And then thankfully also the place where we stay, I stayed Robbie Corbett.
Yeah, who's also been on the JAMCast.
Yeah, he's also been like a huge help for me. I actually lived at his place when we moved to LA. I stayed at his place.
Man,
and
so many people have lived in that place.
Oh, just when I was there. So many people. We've had, what was it, Tavon, Eric McComincha, Nick Provost.
Fernando Arce.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of everyone.
A lot of people.
It was a ton of fun. And the second, our first big movie was Dune. And, you know, I think who recommended us for that? That was Swerve.
Oh, yeah.
Swerve, I met him. I done jiu-jitsu with him over at Jam, tricked with him and stuff. And then from there, Roger Yuan pulled us on, and like I'm very thankful for him. Like I look up to him a lot because he taught me more like that always give back thing that a lot of people don't do. Like a lot of people take, but then they forget to give back. Like all the people that have been there for like me and like gave knowledge to me, like I'll always keep it in my pocket no matter what. And then like if I have to use it, I can use it, but I try to give out as much knowledge as I can as possible.
Yeah.
And then as we were in the middle of doing that, COVID.
Yeah.
It was literally what was it, like 2-3 weeks of previs, and like the next Monday we were about to go into mocap and just like go hard. Like we had like I think it was 120 vignette fights like ready to go.
Crazy.
And then we came in that Friday. He went out for like a phone call, came back in. He was like, "All right, guys, bye."
Shut down.
Yeah, completely shut down. And then he was also like, "Yeah, don't leave, don't go outside, don't get COVID." And then from that, during COVID, we were the first production to go back in.
Okay.
And that was really scary because it was one of those things where it was like, if we popped, meaning of popped is like you get COVID.
Yeah, a bunch of the crew test positive.
Yeah. And like if any of us popped, like it was going to be back downhill when like they were trying to get all productions to start rolling again. And it was one of those moments where like, dude, the build up, because we had to go all through previs again because they were like, okay, no, we want to add more now, because they had all that time during like the months to like, you know what, we could do even crazier stuff.
Yep.
But thankfully, like none of us popped. We finished out our time and like we had a ball. Like I loved it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you got the chance to resume filming, because otherwise that would have been such a wasted opportunity. But I'm glad you got the chance to. For those that don't know, like when things first popped in LA, it was weird because like film got deemed essential somehow, which is crazy. First of all, very blessed that it did. But secondly, it just changed so much, so many things that like you just took for granted, right? Like, COVID has pretty much eliminated hustling sets because you can't have visitors anymore. You used to sometimes, like, I've gotten called for jobs where they're like, hey, can you show up on set in 2 hours from now? That really doesn't happen anymore because you have to get tested, make sure you have a negative test, then go through. It's like, even down to like when the first COVID rule started, like, I mean, they were having strict rules. Even in our rehearsals, they would like let us rehearse for an hour, then we'd have to go outside and air out the room and then go back in for an hour, and we couldn't like interact with cast without full plastic shields on our faces. It was a unique experience.
Yeah, I remember even in the mocap room, like there was no more than, I think there's 10 of us in total. Like there was really not that many people, and like all of us have already tested, you know, all of us are negative, but we had to do all of mocap. And mocap, the suits, they're not that breathable. Like you sweat bullets.
I hate it, bro. That's why I don't do it anymore.
I'm not gonna lie, I love it because I've been a huge nerd my whole life.
Yeah.
So like me, I'm like, I mean, where did they do the video games? But then we had to do it with the COVID masks.
Even tougher.
So like the entire time I'm like this, doing all the fight motions, all the knife work. And then I remember this one very specific. And like I know because I trust this guy. Like his name's Yoko. I think it's Hanamura.
Yeah, I think so.
Or Hanayama. I don't know. I messed it up. I'm sorry, Yoko. Don't hurt me. But he, like, me and him, we were in the middle of a fight, and on the motions I have to do 3/4 to my stomach, but I have to kick with my opposite leg. So everybody has like a dominant leg and a weak leg, and I've never done like swing throughs or swing gainers with my left leg.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I could do it, whatever. So in my head, I was just like, yeah, I could do it, no problem. As we're going through the motions, my mask just goes clean over my face, but action was already called. So everything just broke back into me where I was just like, I know the motions, keep going through it. You know his size, you know the distance, and I trust him. And like as a partner, like I trusted him completely. We went through everything, and like literally I was completely blindfolded at this point.
Yeah.
I went through my 3/4 blindfolded and landed on my stomach perfectly, and it was just like one of those things. I stood up and I was just like, okay. But it's funny because when I stood up, the COVID rep was like, hey, fix your mask. Yeah. And I'm like, really, bro?
Like, bro, we're fighting right now. I had a friend of mine who got in trouble because he wanted to put fire gel on his face before a big explosion and a burn, and the COVID reps wouldn't let him take his mask off to put gel on. He's like, I don't think you understand how this works, but I cannot put the gel over my mask. I need to touch my skin. And it was such a big commotion. They're like, yeah, shut down production for like a good 30 minutes to an hour until like the heads came down and they all like talked it out and argued. But he's like, I just need to put this gel on my face so I don't get burned. And like just the process of him removing it at such an early stage of COVID just caused chaos on set.
Dude, that is insane.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that would have just been like, oh yeah, fire, your safety and health.
Yeah.
Just take it off, put it on. Like what? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah, we've had to learn to adapt for sure. The one thing that I will say that's been positive for me is a lot of people weren't used to having their breathing regulated and obstructed. Luckily for me, bro, 90% of my career, I was a ninja. And what is standard for a ninja, bro, is a balaclava and a full mask. So like for me, bro, I've been performing with a COVID mask on for like 15 years at this point. You know?
Man, I like down in Florida, like when I first learned parkour and acrobatics, like I needed to make some money because when I got to Florida, like I ended up dropping out of college.
Crazy.
Parents hated it, but it's fine. When I dropped out, I was like, okay, I need to make some side money. I know how to do flips. I got a Spider-Man suit. Started doing birthdays, and like I got really used to that. And then also like I did a bunch of other characters, and then it's funny. The worst thing I've ever worn in my life would have to be the Easter rabbit suit. I've worn the full like Easter bunny helmet and suit
for just like an appearance type thing.
For an appearance thing, and I have never sweated more in my life.
Oh yeah.
Like, and like I did Greco like wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm used to like being in a sauna, cutting weight, sweating like your life away. I swear to God, that day I lost like 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah, man.
In just water weight. And like when it came to like doing the COVID stuff with a mask, I was just like, oh, it's just like wearing whatever, like whatever, bro. Like,
it's just
move.
one single layer. Yeah,
it was nothing. Like and then especially like most people don't like pinch it to their nose, and it still has the airways.
Yeah, most people don't realize how difficult suit work is in prosthetics. I mean, there's even an audition at JAM this week for Gregor Mentor where they're looking for suit performers and people in prosthetics that have done stuff before, because it's like a whole other art form. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I, by choice, don't do it anymore just because the process takes a long time and it is restricting. But at the same time, you can make a lot of money because sometimes you're in overtime very quickly if you've been in the chair for like 4 to 6 hours already. You know,
I was in the chair, and like I was putting just face prosthetics, not even like the full body things.
Yeah,
like,
that's what's crazy.
It was just face, and like the detailing and then all that. Like it took a minute, and like it was interesting to work with because like it's when you're on set and you have it on, you forget it's there.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
if it's good,
and I'm like, oh, what's this on my cheeks and all this? Especially like I just had a beard and I had to shave everything because they were like, yeah, we have to fully shave you. And I was like, nah, whatever, bro. Like it's not gonna be that bad. So if you ever have to do like prosthetics on your skin, shave your arms. Shave your arms
for real.
Because I regretted not doing it because when they took it off, it was like it was worse than a Band-Aid.
Oh yeah, bro. It's glue half the time. Like it's crazy, man. But yeah, it's definitely like a specialty in itself. So like you're lucky that you had some of those out of entertainment on-set experiences beforehand, because people take it for granted, man. I remember like when we were doing Power Ranger live shows, like just even prepping for those, like the other thing that people don't account for is masks, they fog up. And so your peripheral vision is completely gone. You're breathing in carbon dioxide and stuff. So yeah, I've learned a lot of tips and tricks over years from like other mentors of mine and stuff, including like Aaron Toney from JAMCo, who used to train with like a towel or wet like a face mask and then put it over his face so it's wet. So it's like even more restricting. It doesn't have that like airflow and stuff. And yeah, little techniques like that have really helped, because I've seen some people like full on panic, like freak out when they're in the suits and you start doing tons of action and your body's overheating. It's like, half of what you're getting paid for is just to be able to suck it up. So
yeah, pretty much. The one thing that's like always helped me is like swimming and like free diving and scuba diving, just because like when you're underwater you can't breathe. This is like one of the like,
and you don't have a quick way out.
Yeah, there's no quick way out, especially if you're deep down. Like there's no like, oh, I just fucking shoot up to the top. You shoot up to the top too quick, you get like the bends and like air in your blood, and it's like kill you. But like it was one of those things where when I'm doing same thing like with wrestling, we would have this nose thing. It's actually what swimmers use for swimming, that pinches your nose. And we would use that while we're rolling, and your air constriction was just destroyed. Like, and especially like opposing your weight onto someone else and making them carry you. It was one of those things like I got really used to having very low breathing ability and like a little bit of air and like just being okay with it and still being able to like put out full speed and like go.
Hell yeah.
And like I owed a lot to like a lot of those things.
So how did your like athletic background start? Like all the way dating back to like childhood?
When I was a kid, so I grew up in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yes.
So I was a Southern boy, born and raised. I grew
that
up
football
on a farm.
territory or like?
Oh yeah. Alabama is like, football is life.
Yeah.
You know, we never had a pro team. Like there's no pro teams in Alabama.
Okay.
So it all came down to college.
College teams.
Either you were an Alabama fan or an Auburn fan.
Yeah.
I had a split family, so that right there was like, when those two teams played, it was a scary moment between families.
Yeah.
I never knew which shirt to wear. Literally, I had gear from both teams, and I was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear something else.
Totally.
But I started as a baseball player.
Okay.
I played baseball for 13 years.
Crazy.
My dad, he actually taught me like how to train and how to become better, because like all the other kids, they'd be out playing and doing all this, but we would be on the baseball field hitting batting practice.
Yeah.
Whether it's raining or not. Like I remember it would be raining outside and I'm holding this frigid bat in the winter and just hitting the ball. And like as much as like as a kid, like I was like, oh man, like I want to just go play with my friends. Like now I completely understand why, and I owe a lot of that and like my training style and my work ethic. I owe to him. Like it's just putting in time when no one else can see it, because that's what matters the most. Because I see a lot of people, they train just around people because they want others to see them.
Validation.
Like, oh, look, I'm good at this. But they don't train things that they suck at. Like, I get bored when I train things that I already know I'm good at, or if I'm like, if I need to brush it up, I'll train it real quick so I can like knock off some rust. But like, if I'm training something I suck at, I get like this happiness. Like, I'm like, okay, I suck.
Yeah.
This is the last time that's happening. And it's like one of those things, like I like getting new knowledge and getting new skills and things that I've never had.
Yeah.
So like, I like being a jack of all trades type thing.
Hell yeah. And so when did you transition to wrestling?
So, well, from baseball, I went into football. I started football when I was 6.
Okay.
And then I played football for 13 years. And then when I got to high school, so in high school, I made the varsity baseball team on my freshman year, and I quit. I was just so burnt out from, training it my whole life with my dad, and like that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Like telling him that, hey, I'm gonna quit. Like I'm done playing baseball.
Yeah.
And then after I told him that, I was like, okay, but I do need to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then my football coach, I remember he's my linebacker coach. He literally looked at me. He was just like, yeah, you're doing wrestling now. Come here, boy. And literally went to the wrestling room. Mind you, did not know this room was a thing. It was like upstairs in a locker room. I didn't even know it was a room. And when I went up there, it was like 102. Like easily. Like I instantly started sweating, and I'm like, what is this?
Yes.
And then from there, it was just like, I rolled the first time with someone, and I was just like, this is amazing. Okay, I want to do this. So then I just went all out and just trained it nonstop. And then that was football, because I was the smallest man on the team for actually every year. I was the smallest guy. I graduated only weighing like 140 pounds.
Dang.
And like a bunch of my guys, they were like huge. A few of them are in the NFL now. Like they're killing it.
Yeah.
One of my good friends, it's funny because he was the opposite of me. So he was on offense, I was on defense. And like in practice, we hated each other, like in practice, because we would always hit each other and everything. But it was one of those things, like I had the utmost respect for him. And I mean, I don't know. I think he had respect for me. But his name was Chester Rogers. I think he plays for the Colts now.
Nice.
But hopefully he gets picked up by Dallas. I'm a Dallas
fan,
so I'm like,
that's a tough life being a Dallas fan, bro.
Hey, what do you mean? What life?
It's a tough life, bro.
It's a tough life, but it's one of those things.
I'm a Clippers fan, so I get it. Trust me.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, it's even tougher, bro.
That's way tougher.
It's way tougher.
Yeah, that's one of the things. We actually got in a fight on the field, me and him. We went at it, and he threw me, and I was completely surprised. And it was one of those things. It caught me off guard.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like I was on the ground, and, like it was one of those things. Like they ripped us apart really quick, but I was just like, wow, that was a good throw.
Crazy.
Like that's what was going through my head instead of like I would in a fight. It was like, man, that was a really good throw. I should practice that. But I ended up getting into wrestling, and then I wrestled 6 years, and then from there I ended up going over to Australia, and I got to wrestle against Australia, New Zealand.
Crazy.
And them New Zealand boys, I've never seen the haka in person.
Oh yeah.
I got to actually watch them perform the haka before we wrestled, and like I swear to this day, that man was not in my weight class.
Yeah, right.
I won. Yeah. Like I threw him on his head, but he was a big boy. I was like, man, you're 140? Hey, you look about 160, 175. Like, there's a reason there's weight classes type thing.
Did you cut, or did you just kind of walk around at your weight?
I cut for the first 4 years of like my wrestling career, and then I had like one really bad cut, and like it made me not want to cut anymore. Like I couldn't move.
Oh wow.
So my body was like locking up in the middle of a tournament. Yeah. And it was one of those things for me where I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna train to be stronger, move faster, and then like keep my weight. Yeah. So I stayed at my weight, but I was able to put on more muscle mass and then keep my speed.
Okay.
So like, and like speed wise, like I was pretty fast. Like in the 40, I ran a 4.4.
Wow.
And like NFL combines, like they run.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah,
4.3,
if you're running 4.4,
4.2,
that's quick. That's receiver speed, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I used to be a running back and receiver. I got tired of getting hit, so I switched to linebacker.
Okay.
I was just like, okay, I'm gonna rip people's heads off, and like I was the smallest in the whole state.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're undersized lineman, especially for Alabama. Like,
yeah, I was the most undersized, but I finished. Our defense finished in like top 10 in the state. And I had like 130 plus tackles on paper. So it's just like it was super fun.
Crazy. And so, at what point do you discover parkour, and how?
Oh man, this is a funny one. So I discovered parkour when I moved down to Miami. So I moved to Miami, and like, yeah, I already knew about parkour because like the internet sensation of just, I watched YouTube videos back in the day. So I was like, oh, this is cool, but I never thought about doing it.
Totally.
And then I ended up, wrestling got taken out of the Olympics. So I was like, that was like 2012. It got taken out, and then next year it was like put back in. Like it was a huge controversy, but like for me, I was like, I wanted to train for that. So I wanted, like, that was like the echelon for me. I wanted to get there. But it got ripped out. So I felt like everything was gutted in me, and I was like, okay, I need to find something.
Okay.
So I ended up finding parkour because like my little cousin, he was like, hey, you should come go to this gym and see this thing that all these guys do. And I was like, what? Okay, let me go check this out.
Yeah.
And I saw a dude do a backflip, and I was just like, I could do that.
And you'd never done acrobatics before?
Never done acrobatics before in my life.
And how old are you at this
I started
point?
at 19.
Damn, that's late.
Yeah.
That's
it's late. And then
late,
but the thing is, it was like one of those things that's time in.
Yeah.
So it's like,
totally.
I ended up spending like 6 hours a day every day training it. And like, I remember the first day I was like, I muscled it. It looked hideous, but I did a backflip the very first day going in.
Yeah.
And like, it was one of those things, it was like, and I just threw it. But I don't know. There was just this feeling I had in my stomach where it was just like, it felt so good to feel air awareness and like control and being able to do whatever I want in an environment.
Yeah, yeah.
I dropped out of college then, and then I fully pursued parkour, and then within 2-3 months, I was competing.
Crazy. 2-3 months of starting.
2-3 months of starting, I started competing.
And at that level, like, what tricks were you throwing? Did you like gain a lot of tricks quickly, or did you just still put yourself in a competition?
No, my big thing was like speed competitions.
Okay.
I was very, very fast and agile, but like tricks, like I was throwing like I picked up my cork from a tricker. His name Mason Raleigh.
Yeah, of course.
He
from
taught
SoFlo.
He taught me how to do cork.
Okay.
And then I remember that took me forever to learn. I learned all the other flips very quick, but I remember back then it was more like I was very precise. So for me, I'd do flips, but I would like land on very small objects, and then big dive rolls that were like stupidly high, dive rolling to something really small. And then, but like back when I was like doing it, like Kong gainers were like, that was the thing. If you could do a Kong gainer,
you shut it down.
Or like, I remember when flyaway, like, wait, what was it? Swing cast.
Oh yeah,
swing cast
was
like
huge.
Off
a bar.
It was like, dang, you can swing cast, and then this and that. And now people are like, swing cast double full, like type stuff. And I'm like, yo, what are these kids eating now? Like, what is going on?
It's crazy.
But I love it, and like I still train it every once in a while when I get to. But like when I first competed, to me it wasn't like the biggest tricks. Like I could throw doubles, I could throw double front, double side, double back, all that different stuff. I throw double side in a lot of competitions.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And like that's definitely like for me, I love side flips. That was like one of my favorite moves ever. And then I remember at one point I was trying to do the world record for double Kong, and it was like 13 feet, if I remember. It's like 13 something. It's like 13.6.
Okay.
They did it on spring floor. I was trying to do it on dead floor.
Whew.
So I managed to get 13, but I was like, for some reason back then, like I couldn't did it. But like I was thinking about it just recently. I was talking to Yasidia, and I was like, you know what? I think I might go for this record again. Just out of nowhere, just like I feel like I could do it.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, there's a great setup here. I might have to do it here, bro.
We got 2 blocks and we got a dead and a non-dead floor. So pick your poison, dog.
Pick my poison. I'm gonna go with the spring floor this time.
Is there like a limited amount of run up that you're allowed to get, or can you just like start like across the street and run?
These dudes were starting like mad far.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
It was just like you could run from anywhere. But I'm like, honestly, like I pick up my top speed within like the first 2-3 steps.
That's why you have a 4.40.
Yeah.
Like for me, I like my fastest sprinting race was a 200. Like I sucked at the 50, sucked at the 40, sucked at the 100, but 200 is just enough for me to get going, you know?
Yeah. Oh, so you get faster over time.
Yeah, I'm a distance runner. Like I did Junior Olympics. I ran the mile and the 2 mile.
Dang.
But
what was your mile time?
4:17 when I was
4:17.
Yeah, like the last time I ran, I think it was 16.
Yeah, I was happy with like a 6-minute mile.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like I put out this personal challenge to myself. I kind of want to like document it and see if I could break a 6-minute and a 5-minute mile still at my age, because like I haven't ran in forever. You know what
for
I'm
sure
saying?
you can.
So I feel like if I really push it, I could break 6 minutes, but 5, I don't know.
I feel like you could do it, bro.
Well,
Like,
I hope so. It'd be cool.
Feel like you're like out of like the strong-minded people like I've seen in my life and like the strong-willed, like I feel like you're one of them.
I hope so. Yeah.
Can literally achieve whatever you put your head to.
It's
so
just gonna come down if the body will respond to what the brain's telling it. You know.
Hey, bro, but it's the mind that's stronger. Like needs to catch up.
Totally.
The body will keep up as long as your mind stays strong.
Yeah.
And like straight up, like if you do that, I'll go for the double Kong.
The double Kong record.
Straight up.
Hell yes.
Yeah, we can do it together.
That's so dope, man. That's crazy. And so like when you first started off, like your parkour career was pretty much centered around Miami. Like I know of Miami free running, but like what was the scene like down there? Like
the scene, like, man, down there, it was very small. It was very niche. But and like the thing with down there, the architecture is not built for free running.
Yeah.
Like, you go overseas and like it's like every building is like, oh, that's a spot. But like over there, it was nothing. So everything like is kind of designed like a cruise ship, like very sharp lines, very sharp edges.
Okay.
So it's very difficult. And then not just that, when it comes to filming in Miami, they're the harshest out of any.
Like police wise, or
oh yeah,
crazy.
If you go down to South Beach and you try to film something, like say I pull out just like a Sony A7, just that small camera, and like that's not like super professional. It's just like I could be like, oh no, I'm just taking photos.
Yeah.
They'll literally be like, you have a permit? Like they'll stop you right then and there.
Crazy.
And like they do it to people even with cell phones now.
Why is that? Do you know why? Or like
I don't really know why.
Okay.
But it's just one of those things. Like Miami is a very, it's a grind. It's one of those things like a lot of people can go and visit Miami, but not too many can like live there. And it's because like it's a constant grind. Everyone's trying to make money. Everyone's trying to figure out a way to live. It reminds me a lot of like LA.
Yeah.
Except LA, I feel like they're nicer.
Really?
Per se.
Yeah.
I mean, like people are nice in Miami. Like when you find like locals are very nice. But then like, we get a lot of the tourists. Totally, I feel like LA gets less tourists than Miami does.
Oh, okay.
We get all the snowbirds.
Yeah,
from like
that's
New
true.
York and
That's
everywhere
true.
else.
Yeah. Miami's a different place, man. Whenever I went there my first time, I didn't even feel like it was the United States. It felt like its own like little annex, bro. I was like, bro, where am I right
That's
now?
That's an island, bro.
Yeah.
That's Miami, and it's not even like if you drive like an hour north, you're back in the U.S.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy. It's just everything, the vibe, the language, the culture, just the energy just feels totally different down there. It's crazy. Yeah.
Bro, but the food, oh my God, the food over there is amazing.
It is good, yeah.
I was introduced to so much Spanish food, and like Yesenia taught me like so many different things I've never even tried. I didn't even know what like a Colombian hot dog was, and I was like, what is this? Bro, they had everything on it.
Yeah.
They had potato chips, all types of stuff. I was like, this is amazing.
And well, what are you just ethnically? Because I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people are unsure of when they look at you.
Oh yeah, I'm a mutt. I'm mixed, a little bit of everything, literally. So I'm Thai, Polish, Native American, Italian, a little bit of Spanish, and I'm just like, from that, I think the only thing I'm missing is like African American, and then like from there, like growing up, one of my best friends, I actually grew up in his house. His name's Trey Rogers.
Okay.
My best friend, like I'd give anything for this man. And we grew up in his house. Like that's where I lived for like 5 years.
Okay.
And it was great understanding like him and learning a whole another culture and like living with him.
Yeah.
And like dude, I've never seen somebody work harder. And like also like
crazy.
Like my mom, predominantly like she lived in Miami, so I'd see her every once in a while. But it was like my dad, and he had his dad, and like so the two people I learned a lot from were always like the men in my family, and like even though like a lot of the times like I hear all these amazing stories about how like people learn like from the women in their family, and I think it's amazing.
Totally.
Like I'm like, for me, it's one of those things like learn from whoever you can learn from.
Yeah.
And like for me, it so happened to be like my grandfather or my dad, my Trey's dad, and it was one of those things where they taught me what being a man is, and also what being like a Southern man is, that hospitality and that niceness.
Yeah.
Which is something like I don't see. Like I live in Atlanta now.
Yeah.
And like it's something I don't really see as like Southern hospitality as
really?
much.
Okay.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why it's not here, but it's not.
Crazy. Okay.
And it's very funny to me.
Damn. All right. I didn't even remember this until you said like what ethnicities you were. I don't remember the whole story, but there was a time you took a trip to Thailand.
Oh yeah.
And I heard like you got stuck there because of lack of fun. What happened? Like, was it a passport issue or?
No. So what happened? I was in Thailand, right? It's actually where I got one of my tattoos on my back. While I was in Thailand, I was just traveling as much as possible and like meeting many people, going out and like understanding like what my grandmother came from.
Yeah,
like she was from there. Like I got to see her village, everything, like where she was born.
Sick.
And like it was super cool. I got to repair the house that she grew up in.
Damn, that's wild.
Thankfully I was handy and like I'm able to like fix things. And the interest, like I lost my wallet. My wallet got stolen. And like when I travel, like I had this thing that sits on my wrist that I'd never take off just in case. And it had like my personal ID and it had like a little bit of cash.
Okay.
But like all my cards were stolen and everything. All I had was like $20.
Damn.
And I ended up, I could have called home. I could have figured out a way they would send me something, but it was one of those things like I'm figured out. So I ended up meeting with local B-boys and I did street performing with local B-boys in Thailand.
Crazy.
And made a good amount of money doing that, and it was super fun, and it was quite interesting because like it's funny because I spoke English like fluently, so I'd go up to the bars and everything, and I'm talking to all these people. I'm like, "Hey, welcome to blah blah blah," and I'm introducing
the hype
everyone.
Man, basically.
I was hyping everyone up, and then I'd start tumbling and doing like all types of acrobatics and stuff. And the best tippers were like the Russian people. They were just like whatever. I also think they were super drunk, so it helped. But when we were over there, as I was going to leave, I didn't keep track of the days. So I overstayed my passport.
Oh, yeah.
So when turns out, I was like, oh, you overstayed. You owe us this.
You have to pay?
You have to pay.
Oh,
so if you overstay your passport, you owe them money.
Crazy.
And like, I didn't know this.
I didn't know that.
And literally, I was at the gate, and like, this is like their version of like TSA, like the security. And he was like, yeah, you owe us this amount of money. And I was sitting there like, I didn't know what I had in my pocket, and I was like, "Oh my God,
yeah,
am I gonna be stuck here?"
Yeah.
And like, I just had enough, like just barely. And I paid the guy, and he was just like, "Okay." Like, I thought it was gonna be like this long process. Literally, I just handed him like the bot that I had.
Yeah.
And I think it was like some 4,000 baht.
Which is how much?
Oh man. Back then, I think that was like, what, 40 US dollars?
Damn, okay.
Like, it was nothing.
Okay.
But I made that over there. So to there, it was a lot. And it was one of those things like when I gave it to him, I thought I was going to have to like deal with like, because you know, like usually you get like receipts and stuff when you pay for things. So he was just like, I gave it to him. He's like, okay, boom. And it just sent me on.
Damn.
And like the guard right behind him with the gun, he was just like, nah. And I was just like, okay.
Got lucky, yeah.
I just walked right through, but it was one of those things. I was like, yo, I might actually get stuck here.
Yeah.
Like, because that was the last little bit. And, like, I wasn't going home after that. I was also going to another country.
Oh, crazy.
I wish, like, I could have flew back home, but instead I went over to Europe.
Okay.
So then I went to Europe, and I called, and I was like, hey, okay, I need a card. Like, I need my card back.
Yeah.
So, like, my bank, thankfully, like, they sent me one, and, like, they took care of me. But it was one of those things, like, it was crazy trying to leave.
Wild.
I legit almost got stuck in Thailand.
Crazy, dog. That's so crazy. That's one of those, like, things you'll never forget. When I'd heard the story that you were breakdancing for money, I was like, bro, that is insane. Yeah.
Well, it's funny, like, I didn't have breaking moves. Like, I didn't know how to do windmills.
Just tumbled.
I didn't know how to do any of that.
Yeah.
But they taught me it then. But like these dudes were throwing like windmills and flares and munch mills on gravel.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, bro,
it's crazy.
What? Like, and I ended up like tumbling on gravel, and I'm like, okay, I've never done this.
Yeah, yeah.
My hands, they got so rough during that time, and I was just like, it was super cool to learn this.
Totally.
Because like during that time, I also blew my ankle out.
Damn.
So my ankle was like the size of like a softball.
Okay.
And it happened from breakdancing.
Crazy.
But it wasn't even. I've never been in one of these things. I didn't even know it was a thing. I thought it was just in movies.
Okay.
It was like an actual dance battle in a club. I shit you not. Like,
No
it was one
way.
of those moments. I'm so sorry for cussing.
Oh, dude, you're more than welcome
dude,
to. Yeah, yeah.
I was like legit in a dance battle. The floor opened up, and I was like, what? And then this dude started top rocking, and I was like, oh, snap, this is a thing? I was like, bro, I don't know how to do this. So I just started, dude, I remember I did swing to swing cork.
Yeah.
And then he was just, everyone lost it. And I was just like, yes.
Flipping is a great equalizer.
It is a great equalizer in any scenario.
Yeah.
But then when I was walking away, I blew my ankle the stupidest way possible. There was a cigarette butt on the ground, and my heel just went boom, and completely blew my ankle out.
No way.
I just did all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't walk 10 feet without destroying my ankle.
It's always the curse of it, things of it. It's never the cool stories most times.
No, it's always the athletic curse.
It's like stepping off a curb awkwardly, or like like pull your back and lifting something in your car. Yeah, it's crazy.
Your dog jumps on you
exactly,
wrong. It's like, breaks over.
That's crazy, man. So like what is the focus now in your life, like through all these life experiences, from having, been an athlete your whole life to professional free runner that enter competitions? I guess, is it the full focus stunts now, or
business wise? Man. That's one of those things, like right now my full focus is on stunts, but for me mainly it's just kind of focus on whatever brings me like happiness in my life.
Hell yeah.
And like for me, like stunts, like when I'm on set, I feel like a kid, bro. Like I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of people do it for the money, and it's all, like that's all cool, but like I like to feel like I'm never gonna work again in my life.
Yeah.
And when I go on set, it's one of those things for me. It's like very euphoric where I get to smile every day because it's one of those things where I'm here and this is what I want to do. This is what I love. And so I really enjoy that. And I have strongest people I can possibly ask for. Yesenia by my side, and like she helps me and she brings me happiness like more than anything else. And then I have like our amazing dogs. Yes. I love my dogs. I love my dogs more than I like some people.
I love all dogs more than most people, dog. I'm gonna keep it honest.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you.
Unconditional love, bro.
I've done rescued like, was it like, me and her have done rescued like 4 or 5 dogs.
How many do you have now? 4 right now?
We have 4 right now.
Yeah.
But like we've rescued like 5 others that have like ran into our house. For some reason, animals just show up to our house and they're like, "Hey, I need help."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, another one? Like,
crazy.
It's like big pit bulls or like little dogs. I agree with you. Dogs are better than people.
Yeah,
100%.
100, bro, 100.
And then they prove that loyalty doesn't need words.
Yeah, bro, 100%.
Yeah.
Are you able to talk about this? And if not, I'll cut it out. But you mentioned that you were starting to get into making props also, kind of with like your whole like background of being very handy and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm finally opening up my own business.
Hell yes.
And I'm making props. Business is gonna be called. It's already up. I have an Instagram name. I haven't activated. I haven't put posts on it yet.
Okay.
But there is a name. It's Action Props.
Okay.
And it's really cool. Like I've already made a bunch of different knives. I'm working on hatchets, swords, a bunch of different things. Baseball bat.
Yes.
That one's a fun one. I have trouble with it, but it's super fun.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
And then what's the goal with that? Is it to sell stuff independently, like direct to consumer type stuff, or you want to go like studio route where you're eventually like a prop master type thing on sets and things like?
I think it's more like for the community, the stunt community. Like I want to approach more of the stunt community due to the fact that like when I was coming up, I always needed like a knife or like something, like especially like I feel like every stunt performer, they should be shooting their own stuff. Yeah. And then like making their own product. But a lot of times like it's hard to get some of these props and gear. And then some of them are like ridiculously expensive where I'm like, yo, like I'm not going to pay $200 for a sword. Like
for real, bro.
What do you mean?
Trust me, I know. I got a whole wall of weapons. It's thousands of dollars. It's like plastic gold over there,
Oh yeah, man. But for me, it's also, it's kind of bliss. Like, I enjoy making it because it's like something tedious with my hands.
Okay.
And like I physically make each one by hand. I physically cut and smooth each one by hand, and it's one of those things for me, like, it makes me happy and it calms me.
Oh.
So like, you know, like life is already super stressful, but you got to have like different vices.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, some people choose drinking,
Totally.
smoking. Me, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna make something with my hands.
Totally.
Call it a day, and like that's what I prefer.
And what's the end game? Is the end game stunts forever, or is it moving on to coordinating? Is it like using stunts as just a platform to start businesses like the props and other things?
For me, it's like a multifaceted type thing. Like I would love to grow in the stunt industry. Maybe one day be coordinating.
Okay.
That I would really love it, just because like I sit behind the scenes and like I try to follow everything. I try to understand every aspect.
Yeah.
Not just like, because when I first got in, like I was like, oh, there's this thing called rigging.
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn it. So I went through and like learned a lot about rigging, learned about harness work, and learned how to ride wire and all that different stuff. And then, because I've always enjoyed teaching, but I feel like at the same time, it's one of those things where you can navigate the circumstances to be, you know, better. And like, I love seeing like what's happening now and like how more action is getting looked higher upon than like back in the day when I first noticed like what stunts is. I'm like, oh, stunts is a thing.
Yeah.
And like it was very hush hush, and trying to get into it, I felt like it was way harder back then.
Totally.
And
was,
like
yeah.
I see it now, and I'm like, oh, you can literally, like, some people are like, I see some stunt reels and it's like all personal projects they made, but it all looks sick. And I'm like, dude, this is wild. But it's just all stuff they made on their own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what it should be. Like, that's like awesome to me, because it shows like, oh, you can create and you can perform.
Yeah.
So, and like for me, I want to be more creative and more helping with the process of the stunts. Because yeah, let's be honest, my body's not going to last forever hitting the ground.
Dude, you speaking to an old dude, trust me.
Hey,
I feel you, bro.
I hit the ground well,
Yeah.
but you know, it's the mileage from football took a toll.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. No, it's super dope to see, and it's really cool for me, from my perspective, just because, like I said, I saw you back when you were just a free runner at these competitions to like now transitioning into the same business that I've been in for a good amount of time. And it's cool because, you know, I don't like to make it an age thing, but like I am at the point where I'm like kind of progressing into coordinating. I don't really want to perform anymore. And like I view people like you as like just hitting the cusp of their performance career, just finally getting these opportunities on these big movies and potentially like full runs of films and stuff like that. And it's just a little bit of it just like excites me and kind of reminds me of like, damn, that was a cool part and time of my life that like I'm kind of envious of where you're at, because it's exciting back then. It's all new, and it's something that's like, you know, you haven't experienced yet. So don't get jaded like me, bro. Don't get jaded and over it.
Dude, but like I saw your thing recently with Minions. I thought that was freaking insane. That looked cool, like man. It would be so much fun to do.
Yeah.
And then the playfulness of it.
Yes.
Because like I feel like stunts, everyone like when they associate stunts, they see like the crazy fights and the crazy action. But I'm like, it's also like there's other forms of action, and like that right there is like a one where just like the happiness and joy of like the scene is like like running in. I was like, dude, that had to be the most fun ever.
Yeah, action comedy is something that like I love doing more than the traditional bang out martial arts fight scenes and like over the top like superhero scenes. I love action comedy, bro. It's just so fun, and it gives you a chance to be really unique, because like you said, we see a lot of the same, you know, beats and clanking and fighting and stuff. And so,
I mean, don't get me wrong, like I love like John Wick. I love John Wick.
Yeah, of course.
And like it's a great film. The action is insane in it. Love watching it. But then it's also like I love like Jackie Chan, bro.
Yeah.
Like I grew up watching Jackie Chan and like Ninja Turtles. Yeah. And like I love like the comedy aspect of like you're not the one. You know what I mean? You're not just gonna hit somebody, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And they hit you and it's just like whatever, bah bah bah. But it's like, God, oh man.
That's what I was just
like.
say.
I'm like, I don't know if anyone's ever like really sparred or like really hit someone.
Bro, if you've punched someone, your hand hurts, bro.
Like, it literally hurts. Yeah. Like, especially like when I see people get slammed, I think it's really funny. Like from my wrestling background, I've slammed a guy and like cracked his ribs. Like I understand like the amount of force that can go into like a throw. And like when I see some people and they just go furthe and they're right back up, I'm like, yo,
no way,
you would be a gangster.
Yeah,
like let's be honest,
Yeah.
you got suplexed and you're just gonna stand up like nothing happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo.
100%. I think the one thing I like about comedy is that it's really based around the moments. This is like one thing that like I've talked about here on the JAMCast before, so my apologies to anyone that's heard me say this a bunch of times, but like whenever I talk to people about like their favorite action movie, I'm like, yo, show me 10 beats of choreo from your favorite fight. Most times the average person, even average stunt person, can't show you 10 beats move for move from their favorite fight, but I'll be like, what's your favorite moment? And they can generally speaking like express a favorite moment. I feel like in comedy scenes, there's so many moments because you need those like comedic breaths for the audience to laugh or the audience to go like, oh, that was crazy. And then like you're back into the action. So yeah, that's why I love it so much.
Oh,
bro.
man.
Yeah.
You got me thinking. I've never actually thought about like what would be my favorite scene like
That's
in a
what I'm
movie.
saying.
And like I just thought about it now. I'm like, I don't know.
It's a hard one, right?
I have no idea.
And then even still, if you start to think about your favorite scenes, could you do choreo beat for beat from it?
I mean, I guarantee there's like
There's gonna be something, yeah. But no, most times you can't, right? You just remember like what was the cool moment, what was the big explosion, what was the big throw, what was the car hit, you know? So in my opinion, good action is story driven, character driven, and moment driven. Like if you don't tell a story, if you don't show characterization and like humanize people or make them a superhero and lean into their traits, and if you don't have moments, like I see a lot of fights right now where it's just like a minute 30 or 2 minutes, there's just the craziest fighting top to bottom. Yeah. And I'm like, it just looked like crazy fighting for 2 minutes, you know? Yeah.
I see that a lot. And who was it recently who started putting more like story and like art into their fight where it wasn't just straight action.
Yeah.
I think it was
a lot of indie guys are trying to do that.
I saw one. I think it was Jay Quan, maybe?
Yeah, Jay Quan be doing that a lot. Sloyer does stories and stuff. Yeah. A lot of people, yeah.
But I always prefer, I'm like, there's no such thing as pure action because pure action has no story. Yeah. It's just, you might as well just, if you want to give pure action a story, just like put them in like a cage.
Yeah.
Say it's like,
at least it's a background story.
Yeah. Put some people up top, like, cheering, like, you know, then it gives it some type of purpose. It's like, okay, they're fighting for something clearly.
Sets the stage, sets the tone. Yeah.
Or a lot of the times when I see the same styles, that's always been like a pet peeve of mine personally, is when I see, okay, that guy does taekwondo. Okay, that guy does taekwondo. Okay, it's a master versus student type thing. Yeah. Like one's better than the other. But I love when like they mix it up and like, okay, it's a Muay Thai guy against a boxer.
Totally.
Or it's a wrestler against a kickboxer. Like it's, and then it's all like, like I don't know. There's so many different like styles, and I would love to see even more styles that I've never heard of or done. Yeah. And like see them against other things.
100%, bro.
I think that's why I enjoy like watching like One Championship.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching the fights.
They have a lot of different styles in one. Yeah.
But the I mean, me personally, like I'd recommend anyone, if you're gonna shoot a fight scene, make a story. Yeah. Make a character of it.
Yeah. Because then we're invested in it, and like there's a reason why we cheer for you or we hate you. Yeah. But it has to be like one or the other, in my personal opinion. Otherwise, it's just action for action's sake. You know? Yeah. So
that's oh man, that's so true. Because like, it's something that has always bugged me. Like, you know, I'm never.
I say it, bro. I'm not shy. I'm shouting out. Yeah, I'm trying to be crazy,
like,
bro.
If you ask me my opinion, I will gladly tell you whatever you want. But like at the same time, like I'll let you do whatever you want to do, bro. Exactly. Like as long as you're happy. At the same time, if you do just want to shoot action for action's sake,
boo-boo? Yeah.
and it makes you happy,
100%.
do it, bro. Like 100%. I get it.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy. I wouldn't want to change that.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like, you know, there's some people that say like they create art for people, and then there's others say I create art for myself. If you're creating for yourself and you're happy, do your thing. Don't worry about my opinion and what I'm saying. Yeah. You got to pick and choose what you're doing it for, whether it's for audience or you're doing it for yourself.
I think that's so important because it's one of those things. It's like I forgot who said that quote. Like the guy who enjoys walking will make it farther than the guy who enjoys the goal.
Yeah, totally.
And like it's one of those things where I'm like, that's exactly what it should be, you know, in the end. And like, it's funny because Yesenia has actually helped me understand that because for the longest, like I would always train and I'd put up content here and there for audience. I never shot for myself. And then I started doing things for myself, and it made me fall back in love with like movement and parkour and fighting and story and how to build story. It's like one of those things I'm like, I'm so glad it happened because it's definitely a big thing for me.
So along the lines of goals, bro, question I ask everyone. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Whew. 5 years from now? 5 years from now, I'm hoping I'd be a lead double.
Dope.
Or I will be helping on the creative side of not fight coordinating, but because like I'm not a huge martial art guy, but I would love to be helping with the creative process, like maybe like assistant or something. At
Part of the
point.
Previous team.
Yeah, part of previous team. Like
Okay.
I've finally been on like 2 previous teams now, and like I love that process more than anything. Like it's one of those things that's like, okay, here's a character. This is background.
Yeah.
Figure out his own style, his own movement. How's he gonna be? Is he gonna be cocky? Is he gonna be like dainty? Is he gonna just move whenever he has to? Like I don't know. I love that aspect of it so much. So I would love to be more in that. And then you said 10 years?
Yeah.
10 years? I'm not gonna lie. I hope in like 10 years I have house paid off. I just paid off my car, so
Nice.
But, so I think house paid off, a kid. I'd hope I'd have a kid by then. You know, for me, family has always been a huge thing. So I hope to one day be able to bring a life into this world and then be there as a father. But at the same time, like, you know, if life's crazy. It's one of those things, like, even if it's cut short, like, no matter what, like, I hope my friends, family, and loved ones, they always know, like, I love them and, like, I care for them. So even if it gets cut short, whatever. I did what I did love.
Yes, bro.
I did what I did love. I did what I loved.
Yes.
So, yeah, but, like, pretty much for me, like, I've never been someone who looks too far in the future just because, like, I try to be very present in, because I used to always look for the future, and it was one of those things that would stress me out.
Same, yeah.
It'd make my heart rate, and like I'd get so paranoid because I'm like, bro, I'm not working hard enough.
Yeah.
I'm not doing enough. I'm not. Okay, I don't need to sleep. Like, who needs to sleep? I need to just go do something.
Yes.
Like, so it messed me up so much, and then I was just like, I'm here. And then Cindy taught me, like, just show up.
Yeah.
Just show up wherever you got to go. Show up. Because there's so many times in life where you'll be like, man, I don't really want to go to that audition.
Totally, bro.
I don't want to go here or there. Just show up. Yeah.
100%, bro. Good advice. Something that life lessons I'm still learning at my age, but yeah, super valuable for people to just hear them audibly and implement it into their own. So,
well, earlier you said, like, there was a statement that you said where it was like, you know, I've said it multiple times on the podcast. Yeah. Well, guys, guess what? If it's being said multiple times, you should probably listen to it, because it's like,
and you got no choice. This is my podcast, so
exactly.
I'm gonna say what I want. Yeah, it's my microphone. I'm gonna say what I want. Man. But more than anything, bro, I really appreciate. Like I said, I appreciate you, all the help, all the years of support, helping lay the foundation of this place. Literally laying down the floors with me alongside each other. Like, people that come train at JAM Atlanta, like, literally owe this man a huge debt of gratitude, because would not have happened without him. We'd have a lot of janky puzzle floors, let me tell you. And if you do visit, you're going to be surprised at how he cut around these poles so flawlessly. It's crazy, bro.
Man,
it's crazy.
I want B-roll of every pole.
Exactly.
On the opening, I just, like, you know, just like a little page. It's like extra photos on your website. Just like shows the random puzzle cuts.
Oh, man. But yeah, like I said, man, appreciate all the help over the years. Looking forward to seeing where your career takes you. And, you know, if we can ever be a help to you in your career, let us know. And we thank you for everything you've done for JAM, bro. So. Oh, man. It's one of those things for me. Like, you guys are a family. And, like, for me, it's like, thankfully, like, now I got to work with Aaron Tunney. I got to work with him on Panther. And then, like, that was a huge thing for me, because it was somebody from the JAM family that I look up to. Yes. And, like, I look up to you as well. Yes. And, like, for me, it was like, I finally got to work with him. Yes. And, like, show, you know, that I felt like I stepped up. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then the day I worked, like, they didn't know they had a height fall guy. Yeah, I heard about this. Yeah. AT knew me, and he was just like, nah, we have one. We're good. And he grabbed me, and, like, I got to step up for him, and, like, I got to show out and do good. Hell yeah. And, like, for me, it was one of those moments of just, like, that felt good in more ways than I could ever say. And, like, I owe a lot to you guys,
at the same time, like I hope to one day also work with you.
Yeah,
like,
bro,
one of these days,
I know,
bro.
one of these days, yeah.
Yeah, even though you're mostly in Cali, but you know,
you never know
I'll
though,
fly out.
bro.
I'll
Now
fly
I'm
out.
bi-coastal with this. So
Hey.
yeah, hell yes.
hell yeah, man.
So yo, bro, before we get out of here, can you look at this camera and tell people where they can stay up to date and follow your own personal journey? And yo, shout out the prop thing if you want.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hey guys, if you guys want to follow me, you can check me out on Instagram at Christopher Bogdanski Shore. You know, I'm sure it's like
We'll put it on the screen.
one of these corners or something. But also, I'm opening up a company. It's called Action Props. You guys can check that out once I make everything live in the website. You guys ever need anything? Also, if you want to ask questions, feel free to message me. I'm always down to help out and do as best I can with any advice or anything, because I had great people like Travis to help me when I was starting.
Hell yeah. Guys, with that being said, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Christopher Bogdanski Shore himself. So that being said, guys, got to give one more special shout out. Thanks for coming through, bro. I really appreciate it.
Dude, thank you so much for having me.
Hell yes. And as always, guys, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.